Well, hello there, my gaming friends. This is React, and as you can see here, I'm back in Brütal version 19, and this will be map number 9, and it's called The Pit. And the subject of today would be a rather controversial one, because I wrote the article, yesterday, about Gabe Newell's little talk with the Washington Post about Half-Life 3. And if you haven't heard it yet, Mr. Gabe thinks that Half-Life 3 isn't a high priority thing at the Valve office at the moment. So I wrote about it because, if it haven't been for Half-Life and the Half-Life fans, then Valve wouldn't have been successful, and therefore games such as Left 4 Dead and Portal wouldn't even exist. So I find it rather strange that Gabe and Valve thinks that way. I mean, I have been waiting for Half-Life 3 since episode 2 of Half-Life 2. The episode 2 was released back in 2007, I think it was. I mean, that's 6 years ago, and basically the only thing that has happened since episode 2 is all these teaser things that Valve has done throughout the years, you know. A concept picture there, a concept picture there, and they pretty much just tease us, the Half-Life fans, and nothing else happens. I mean, what is it? I think it's like 3 or 4. It has to be 3 or 4. It's even more. I think it's like the 4th or 5th E3 show when they haven't shown anything from Half-Life 3 or whatsoever, and people are of course wondering what's up, what's going on, and I mean, every time someone asked like direct questions to Gabe or anyone at Valve, just like what's the status of Half-Life 3, and there's they answer pretty much nothing indirect about the game itself. It's more like things that doesn't have anything to do with Half-Life 3. So I mean, I'm actually starting to wonder, will the game even happen? Because there was like, I can't remember the guy's name now, but he commented on our Facebook page, and he had a really good point when he said or wrote that when's the right time to release Half-Life 3? I mean, soon no one will even remember what the hell Half-Life is all about, who is Gordon Freeman and all that. I mean, if it haven't been for the Black Mesa team, you know, the guys that made the remake of Half-Life 1, then I think that no one would even... I mean, of course the hardcore fans would still remember what Half-Life is all about and all that, but I mean, the Black Mesa project brought a whole new generation of Half-Life fans to the table, you know. But here we are still. I mean, it's 2014, the Xbox One is out, the PS4 is out. Still we got no trailer or nothing for Half-Life 3. So I find it rather strange that Gabe Newell just like, no, Half-Life 3 is not the high priority. And I mean, I don't know if you have heard it yet. Some days ago, an image of the Source Engine 2 leaked out on the web. The image for Left 4 Dead 3. So, I mean, you don't have to be the smartest of cats to understand that Valve pretty much just focused on every other game but Half-Life 3. So I mean, it has to be like way down in the priority list, you know. So and I mean, even if Half-Life 3 will happen, what will it be? Will it be like open world, first person, third person, or what? And I mean, will it even be Gordon Freeman that's the like main character, or you know, there's so many questions and so few answers to all these questions. So I mean, there was like, when I read some comments on a real old I think it was a fan-made Half-Life 3 video, but anyhow, what people just thought about the whole thing, and then they just like, Valve's this you know, video game company that they are just trolls that sometimes release games. And that's pretty much how I feel about Valve, at least when it comes to Half-Life. I mean, every time I've heard like, oh, we're gonna release a new game, then it's like, for the love of God, let it be Half-Life 3, but it's not. Then it's like, no, it's not Half-Life 3, it's something else. And there's also, of course, all these memes and jokes about Half-Life 3, like Gabe having troubles with number 3. You know, 1, 2, 3, but no, can't go past 2, because that makes it 3. So, no, can't do that, sorry. And I honestly don't know. I mean, what's the idea of what's the plan, you know? When will Half-Life 3 happen? I mean, for fuck's sake, Gabe. I mean, it's almost 7 years ago since episode 2. I mean, we've been stuck to this goddamn cliffhanger thing for 7 years almost. I mean, when will we get the ending that we deserve? I mean, Half-Life 3 is like the only FPS game that I have been wanting to play for years now. So I don't really know what's the plan or anything. And I mean, every year there comes like new FPS games that sets a new standard, and I don't know what Valve and Gabe Newell are waiting for. I mean, are you waiting for Christmas like Duke Nukem used to say? And speaking of Duke Nukem, I mean, I have heard this quite a lot now, that the Half-Life fans are afraid that Half-Life 3 might be turned into a new Duke Nukem Forever kind of fiasco project. And I don't know, I mean, I read all the rumors and all that stuff, so I try to keep track on what's going on, but I mean, rumors are just rumors. I mean, it doesn't mean anything if no official PR person or whatever says, oh yes, that's true. So I mean, it feels like I'm stuck in a kind of time hole or something like that. I mean, it feels like I'm still back at the cliffhanger in episode 2, so it's still 2007, you know. And I still don't understand what's the deal with, you know, teasing the fans, and then they're like, oh no, we're not gonna show anything at all. So, as I see it, they're just pissing off the fans that pretty much made Valve to what they are today. I mean, if Half-Life haven't been made, then I hardly believe that Valve would even exist today, and even if they did exist, it would probably not be the same company as we know today. So I found it rather strange that they, you know, oh, thank you so much for the support, now we're not gonna give you what you have wanted for all these years. So I just find the whole thing about Half-Life 3 very strange and unlogical. Because to me it makes no sense at all. I mean, it was like I wrote in the article, the time is right, you know, right now. Because, yeah, the Xbox One is out, PS4 is out, the Black Mesa game made all the you know, PR and all that for Half-Life, and people are really wanting the next Half-Life game, you know, to play it and all that. And still Gabe says this stuff to the Washington Post. I mean, for me it felt like, well, either a, you know, knife through the heart or a punch in the face. Just pick your poison. I mean, some will, oh, it's just a game, grow up, and I see no difference between that and wanting to hear like a new record or a new movie that you've been wanting to hear and see, you know. And I mean, I have been on the Half-Life train since the very first game, so for me it's like it's a big part of my life, you know. I mean, when I played the first Half-Life game, I mean, I read about it first in a review in the Swedish gaming magazine PC Gamer. Then I tried, I think it was a demo, or if I played at a friend's house, I don't remember. But anyhow, when I got through that train stage, you know, when you're just waiting for the train to stop and you get off the train, that part actually made me want to buy the game, because I haven't experienced anything like that. And of course things got even better after that, you know, action wise and all that. And I mean, when you have finished episode 2 of Half-Life 2, I mean, it's a gigantic cliffhanger, and like I said earlier, it feels like you're still stuck. So you just want to know what's gonna happen next. But if you read my article and read what Gabe Newell said to the Washington Post, then you will find out that obviously Gabe and Valve has no interest whatsoever to make Half-Life 3 happen. But then I came up with like a compromise solution to that. I mean, if Valve doesn't want to make it themselves because they have lost interest in it, or they don't feel like, oh, we can do it, I don't know, why don't they just hand over everything to the guys that made the Black Mesa project? Because they're obviously skilled and they love Half-Life and they have the know-how and everything. So why don't they just get together and work something out? I mean, everyone will win on it, obviously. So, I don't know. Well, first of all, it just feels like they don't want to make it happen. So, there you have it. That's my take on the whole thing. I mean, I just want to play Half-Life 3 just as much as anyone else. But I think it's, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, I'm starting to feel like that Half-Life 3 won't happen. I mean, even if it happened, would it be anything that I hope it to be? So I mean, I felt really sad when I read the article and all that. So it's a really like painful topic when it's something that you really love and want to play and it's not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna wrap it up here, because I got nothing more to add to this release. So if you liked the video, please feel free to subscribe and comment on what you think about Half-Life 3 and all the stuff that Gabe Newell has said to the Washington Post. And just take care, people, and have a great day. This is V19 signing out. Bye bye for now, guys. Adios.